We've got Kunal Bothra as well as Saurabh Jain joining in. And welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking the time. As always, good morning to you. Saurabh, I'll come to you first on the fundamentals. A lot that's in the offing. This is a sector that is, to a certain extent, cyclical, but also something to watch out for in terms of the success of the rural economy that plays out very strongly here. How do you view this? What are the factors that you think will affect it, and what stocks would you pick?
I think first and foremost, the most important thing is the higher subsidy giving out by the government, and that too in timely manner. I mean, there are no overdues to the fertilizer companies. And again, they have been hiking fertilizer subsidy. I mean, the budgeted was, I guess, 80,000 crore, and now we are talking about a 1.5 lakh crore worth of subsidies. If you look at the prices of DAP in the abroad, it is approximately got doubled. $750 per ton, and in India, they are still around $330 per ton. That is only resultant because of the subsidy given by the government. I think we can play this through some of the companies like Chambal Fertilizer or maybe Deepak Fertilizer, who are planning to install a new project of about 2,000 crore in Odisha, which will be operational in 2024. So I think these companies are making good amount of profits, and because of the government subsidy, they are the productions and the margins have been restored. One should really be wary about investing in the PSU pack. I mean, the companies like Rashtriya Chemical Fertilizer or something. I mean, just a word of caution, because because we are as towards the end of the calendar year and the fiscal year, the government may wants to raise some kind of money, and maybe OFS is in the offing. So maybe on those lines, some kind of a correction, if OFS gets announced, may come in those stocks.
That's right, Saurabh, surely we'll keep that. When I'm looking at some of the basic ones, which I don't understand much, but, there is some bit of correction that we did see coming in. So now, how are you seeing in terms of the fertilizer stocks? Is it the right time to look at them? And which ones are you looking at as well?
So good morning, Vinny. Good morning, everyone. I think the fertilizer pack overall looks quite stronger. So even though it's not a major sector as such, but then so many of the stocks like Chambal Fertilizers, you look at UPL, you look at GNFC, Deepak Fertilizer, these stocks have done exceptionally well. Now, one of the stock which I think at current juncture looks very attractive purely in terms of risk reward, and if you look at the chart patterns over the last, I think 18 months, I think it's exceptional. That's GNFC. The stock has formed what we call it as a classical rising channel pattern. So something which has been going on for the last 15, 16 months plus for GNFC. And there have been so many attempts of the stock trying to come back to the support in the channel. And that has resulted into a classical rally, classical rise for the stock over the near to medium term. We had a similar juncture for GNFC, where the stock at 420, 423 levels has come back towards that big support trend line. It's also trading above its 200-day moving average. And looking at the historical patterns for GNFC, where it's ended a period of consolidation and then managed to rise up very, very swiftly, very quickly over the span of the next 2 months, I believe it could be a very good risk reward to try and look at the stock or buy the stock at current zone. And if the similar charts play out, say over the next 1 to 2 months, then we could be looking at GNFC crossing about that levels of 475 to 500 over the next 2 to 3 months.
Right. Thanks, Kunal, for that view. We are slipping into a short break, gentlemen, so do stay with us. On the other side, viewers, we'll start taking your queries, so keep them ready. Do stay tuned.
Back, and you're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ETNOW, and it's now that time of the show when we'll be taking your stock queries. So, let's start right away with your queries. So first one, Kunal, I think I'm going to be coming to you. We have a query coming in from Tarun, from Marion Portman, who's asking that he's holding 25 shares of Muthoot Finance at 1,500 rupees. So, what should he be holding those shares? What is the levels that we should be looking at? Because they're seeing a 3-day correction coming in the stock. So, what is your view on this stock?
See, I think it's a good stock. We should hold on to Muthoot Finance. Muthoot Finance, Manappuram, they tend to get influenced, based on the prices of what happens to gold. So we've seen that activity, that gold prices have started to rally up, both on rupee terms as well as on dollar denominated terms as well. And I think that's a good base, for Muthoot Finance and Manappuram both for the near-term chart. So I would suggest a hold, and expecting that if this rally continues for the asset class, then Muthoot Finance can come back to at least a 1575, 1580 over the next maybe couple of weeks.
Okay, the question is from Abhishek, and this one's for you, Saurabh. And I'm reading it exactly as it is written. Is it safe to buy Hindustan Unilever, or should you wait?
I think if you look at the FMCG pack, it is clearly underperformer. When there is no growth visible, no growth signs visible in the economy, you always tend to see that buying comes into the value stocks. And now with the economic growth on the revival path, we are talking about the revival of the industry, real estate and all. I think FMCG will remain a laggard. So in that sense, I don't think so HUL will outperform. Rather, it would be better. It would be great if you put money in the capital goods sector like Larsen Toubro, or maybe for that matter banking, like ICICI Bank. I think that should outperform 2022 by a good margin.
Kunal, the next one is coming in from you. We have a query from Lalita Kumari, who's asking about Chambal Fertilizer. She's bought 100 shares of Chambal Fertilizers at 400 rupees. Now, should she book a loss? Her holding period is maximum 3 periods, or should she be holding it? What is your view on Chambal Fertilizers?
I think if the time frame is short term to medium term, then I think you should hold on to Chambal Fertilizers, because the stock had been one of the strongest stocks in last 1 month. In the last 3-4 days, I think the last 1 week odd, the stock went into a correction because majority of the stocks which were holding on to the gains corrected in the toughest part of the market volatility, and now the stock is making a bounce back again. So it's respecting its 50-day moving average, trying to get support closer to 370, 375 kind of levels for itself. So I think it's a good chart. If you can probably extend your time horizon from say 3 days, I'm assuming it's 3 days, to maybe a couple of weeks, and there is a higher probability that Chambal Fertilizers can come back above 400 levels, which is the cost price.
Okay, Saurabh, next one is for you. We have a query on Kotak Mahindra Bank from Harsh, and he's asking, he's bought Kotak Mahindra Bank at 1,800 rupees. Now, for a long term he's asking 5 years. Should he switch to another bank, or is it a good hold? Will this turn into a good buy for him?
I think kind of growth Kotak used to say is really missing in the last few quarters, and that is why we have seen even in the private sector bank the stock has underperformed. I think better would be if you have a 5-year kind of a horizon, better shift your money towards ICICI Bank. I think there are brighter chance that you will outperform the broader market as well as Bank Nifty by a good margin.
Okay, just a small pointer, viewers, the experts may not have a view on all stocks, so we will try as far as possible to get a view. The next question is from Prasant, and this one's for you, Kunal. He's looking for a view on IDBI Bank, or IDBI First Bank. Sorry, IDBI Bank. I'm sorry, my counters are getting confused. IDBI Bank, the buying level is 57. And he's wondering whether to average at the current level or to sell. What is the view for the short term?
IDBI, I think if I'm not wrong, the stock is at 46.5, 47. It seems to be an okay chart. I would suggest that if you've bought at higher levels, and if you have that capacity to try and average at current levels, I would suggest that you should look to average it out further, because what the stock is actually going through, my sense is that the last 2 months or 3 months is a mean reversion process, coming closer to its 200 moving average. And I believe with the chart prospects looking quite strong on the medium to long term charts, if this moving average holds up for IDBI Bank, there should be one more rally which could be in the offing over the medium to long term. So if time frame and if there is some capital which is which you can still put into the stock, again I would suggest to average even at current levels, and with a time frame of say another 6 months to 12 months, look out for targets in the range of 60 to 65.
Right, Kunal. Kunal, actually, I'm going to come to you. There's a lot of short-term queries that people are asking. we have one query from Shailaja, who's asking about can she buy Bajaj Holdings at the current price for a short term?
I think Bajaj Holdings has been one of the few stocks which has been more stable in terms of chart patterns now over the last so many years we've seen Bajaj Holdings doing exceptionally well. In fact, from 2009-10, the stock which was almost at like 380 of 200 300 rupees, from there it's now almost at 5,000 plus. So it's been a big multi-bagger over the last 10-12 years, and the chart prospects still look very attractive from a longer term play. So if you are okay with holding it from a long term, then I believe you should definitely look to hold on to Bajaj Holdings and look out for these corrections, which comes across like a 10% correction is a 15% correction as a good averaging opportunity.
Rob, coming to you on Piramal Enterprises, we've got Professor Tirumala Rao, who's writing in from Visakhapatnam. He's not told us what level he's bought at, but he's wondering on a fundamental basis, would you advise to continue to hold?
I think yes. I mean, the company continues to post good set of numbers. Their healthcare division is doing absolutely good, and I don't think so there is a problem for the next few quarters. My take would be a hold on to this stock.
Kunal, next one, I'm going to come to you. KR Balan is asking about LIC housing actually, and for a 6 to 12 month view at the current price, should he be buying this, and what is your view coming in on there?
Well, I would suggest an avoid at current levels. The stock has this tendency of getting into very erratic kind of price moves where the swings in the prices are extremely high, and the direction for LIC housing, when you look at the last 6 months of chart patterns, the last 1 year of chart pattern, it's been missing. So, for example, just about a few days back, the stock was almost at its 52-week low for itself. Now, given at a time when the markets are just getting into a mean reversion process, this stock has been one of the few stocks which has come back to its 52-week low. So that itself tells you the weakness or the underlying weakness of chart patterns relative to its other peers. So I would suggest an avoid.
Okay, Kunal, coming back to you on this next one, we've got Madhava, who's a senior citizen from Kerala, asking about Nalco, bought at levels of 105, wondering to book out from this and move to something like an ICICI Bank.
Well, I think you can do both. In fact, I would suggest that you hold on to Nalco, and if possible, then if you have additional capital, then maybe even add ICICI Bank if you don't have that stock in your portfolio. For Nalco specifically, I think the stock is looking extremely strong on the long-term charts. Now, we've discussed about the cycles for metal stocks, commodity themes, stocks, that how many of these stocks have given a 5-year, 10-year breakouts. Nalco has also given that breakout. But remember, in the last 1 month, or 2-3 months, when the metal stocks have gone through corrections, not many stocks are trading, at their 52-week highs for themselves. But Nalco has come back closer to its, monthly high. So it's a very strong chart, and I would sense that if given a time frame of another, say, a couple of years, the stock has capacity to come back to even 140, 150 levels. So if you can hold Nalco, that will be great. And as I said, ICICI Bank looks to be an attractive risk-reward buy from current juncture.
Next query for you. We have a query coming in from Chintan Kapadia, who's asking about Axis Bank. Now, his average buy price is at around 575 levels. Now, he's not gotten good returns. He's been holding it for a while. So, should he be switching his investment somewhere else, like any other bank, like SBI, ICICI Bank, or sticking to Axis Bank as of now?
I think if you look at, if you have listened to the management, clearly Mr. Amitabh has been quite a vocal that it would take few quarters for Axis Bank to come on a good growth path. The bank is lacking in terms of its peers. So it would be a great idea if you can switch money towards ICICI Bank, which is growing above industry average with clean balance sheet, higher provision coverage ratio, with net interest margin continuously improving quarter on quarter. I think you will be highly rewarded if you convert your holding into ICICI Bank.
Okay. Let's take up another question. We've got Sudha, who's asking about BEML. She's asking about multiple stocks, but I will only take one. BEML is the name of the counter. Kunal, what would be the advice? Would you buy the current level? If you bought, would you hold?
Even though the stock has retraced from its 52-week highs, I think 2100 or 2080 was the 52-week high for BEML. But then the prospects, when you look at the volumes, the situation of indicators on the monthly, quarterly charts, it looks very attractive. And I would suggest that if the stock goes through one more retest of that 2100 mark, that could lead to a big breakout, almost like a 15 year breakout for BEML. So that's worth waiting for. So I would suggest a hold.
Come back to you again because we have a query specifically. Someone is asking on Radico Khaitan, your view, and is it good for long term or short term? What is your view on that?
So I think it's been a phenomenal stock. Radico has done exceptionally well over the last 12 months, and I think when you look at the liquor stocks and specifically the last from the pandemic lows, Radico has been one of the second strongest name, I think, other than Global Spirit, which has done exceptionally well, been a multiplier from those effects. So I think the long-term charts are very interesting. So I would suggest that have a longer-term time horizon for such kind of names, because what happens is on short-term charts, when these stocks get into an overbought territory, there is possibly a time-wise correction or a time consolidation which could happen. So Radico looks very attractive from a longer-term play.
Okay, Ajay has got a question on SBI cards. He's holding at levels of 1021. Saurabh, on the fundamentals, would you hold on to this or would you switch to something else?
I think they have been putting up a good show. They have been consistently going at good double digit and with negligible, delinquency ratio. So I am expecting this stock to go good, and I'll put a hold on to this.
Saurabh, we have a query actually for long term for KPR Mills. What's your view on that? It's from KJ Singh. He's asking on a long term view.
All the textile and retail manufacturer are doing good show, especially on the exports, US and Europe side. And I think the demand is quite robust, and especially the September and December quarters are likely to be good for the company, and that is what the stock has also outperformed on the courses. I think it will continue to do good. So my take would be a hold on to it.
Saurabh, I'm hoping that you have a view on this Tata Steel long products. We've got Chandran from India who's bought at levels of 810, slightly elevated levels. The stock is currently trading at 720. Would you suggest that he hold on based on the fundamentals, or would you say that he should book losses and move to something else?
If you look at the global economics, there is a clear slowdown in the China, which is putting up pressure on all the commodities, especially metal prices. These companies would continue to be profitable, but at the same time the valuations were scorching in the month of June and July, and from there onwards we haven't seen price going back up to the levels we have seen at that time. So I think these companies would continue to make money, but the arbitrage between the global and domestic prices have reduced enough, and there is a major correction in the prices abroad, in the metal prices abroad, and also there is a softness in the prices in the domestic market. I would rather recommend to get out of the Tata Long Steel and switch money to maybe bigger names like Reliance Industry, or maybe on the capital goods side like Larsen & Toubro.
Coming in from Kerala from Rohit Matthew, who's asking about he's bought 50 shares of Hero MotoCorp at 2,550 rupees. So what is he should be doing with Hero MotoCorp?
So I would suggest that if you bought at 2,550 levels, you not bought at the higher end of the price trend for Hero MotoCorp. But then there has to be some rationale why you bought Hero MotoCorp. I would assume that it's not just because the stock was cheap and was trading at its maybe a YTD low, yearly lows for itself. I hope that was not the reason. But I would suggest that if you're looking to buy or park in additional funds, then rather than averaging Hero MotoCorp at current juncture, look out for something like Tata Motors or maybe an M&M, Mahindra & Mahindra at current juncture, because both these stocks, they look relatively strong from an overall automobile pack. So Hero MotoCorp, you can probably hold on to it and let the stock come back to your cost price, and then you can decide whether you want to exit or hold. But then I think if you are looking at parking additional funds, then rather than adding on Hero MotoCorp, I would suggest either looking at Tata Motors or M&M at current juncture.
Okay, Kunal, coming back to you. This is a question from Mr. Sitaram Ganesh. He's writing in from Chennai. It's on Happiest Minds, and he's bought at an average price of 1,380, slightly elevated levels. The stock is currently trading around 1,230 or 1,225, and he's wondering whether he can get his cost price.
Absolutely. I think it's a brilliant stock, from a medium to longer term play, even though the history is a bit restricted over the span of, I think, the last 12 months or 13 months is the price history for Happiest Minds. But then the rally which had happened for Happiest Minds from those 300, 350 odd levels towards 1500, I think has been spectacular. What that rally had done was bring many of the indicators, or majority of the momentum indicators, into a deep overbought territory. And which is why from those 1500 levels, I think it was in July 2021, the stock had gone through a time correction. So possibly over the next maybe couple of months, the stock may continue to tread in this time correction or a sideways zone. But then I think maybe somewhere in mid 2022 or second half of 2022 is where I would expect a big breakout coming out for Happiest Minds yet again. So I would suggest that hold on to it, and possibly if you can hold on to it from a longer term play, the chart prospects look very, very attractive from that time frame.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Kunal. But now we're going to actually start our rapid fire round, and I'm going to come to Saurabh first. We have Abhijit K. Rao asking about he's purchased 1,000 shares of Hathway at 23. Should he buy or sell, or what should he be doing with that?
Do the same.
Saurabh, that one is for you.
I think he can hold on to the same.
Okay, Kunal, this one's for you, or rather, Saurabh, this is for you. ONGC, Sushil is holding on to the stock at 200. Should he sell or should he hold?
From the ONGC, I would recommend a sell onto it.
Purna is asking, he has bought Polyplex Corporation of 65 shares at 1,550. Hold or sell? What are you saying on this one?
I would suggest a hold.
Say the name. Okay, Kunal, this one's for you. Trident is the stock at the current price. Aarti is asking whether it is a buy.
It's a buy, but be ready for some corrections over the near to medium term as well. The stock has done exceptionally well in the last 12-13 months. So be ready for some corrections, but then looks very attractive. You can start buying on stages from current levels.
Okay, and just on Kotak Mahindra Bank, buy, sell, hold. Saurabh, what are you suggesting?
I would rather recommend to switch to ICICI Bank.
Kunal, Centrum, the stock has been bought at levels of 46. Pintu is asking whether to hold on for 2 months.
I would suggest an exit.
Okay. Saurabh, LIC housing, we have coming in from KR Balana. Short term, what should he be doing? Buy or hold, or what would you suggest on that?
I think they have problem with their margins and the balance sheet. There is a higher delinquency rate. I would rather recommend to switch money to the to a bank like SBI.
All right, gentlemen. On that note, we're completely out of time, and all the viewers tuning in as well. I know that a few of you are asking, please can you slip this in? But unfortunately, we're out of time on this edition of the query segment. We'll be back tomorrow, though, to take more queries. Gentlemen, thank you so much as always for taking the time, and we'll speak to you soon. We're slipping into a short break, but there's more on the other side, so do stay tuned.